Good day and welcome to the Faculty of Management Sciences. My name is Professor Singh and I'm going to talk to you about the Viva Voce, specifically for the staff. The Viva Voce, also known as the oral examination or the oral defense, is conducted to evaluate the candidate's depth of knowledge, subject expertise and understanding. The candidate is required to defend his or her work and present it orally before an academic panel or community. The panel assesses the candidate's defense, comprehension, and mental engagement with the work. This is applicable to all doctoral candidates registered from 2025. Invitation and attendance to the session. The invitation is faculty-wide and it is open to all irrespective of qualification. The invitation can also be open to the university. The faculty will extend the invitation to the audience. The panel chair decides if he or she would like to open questions to the public. Examination process. Examiners must state in their reports whether the candidate may proceed to the oral stage. There must be consensus among examiners. At this stage, no final result is given to the student, only confirmation that the candidate may proceed to the oral examination. The candidate cannot proceed to the oral defense if any examiner recommends a resubmission or major revisions. Minor revisions are not a barrier to proceeding. The revised thesis must be reassessed and approved before the candidate can proceed to the oral stage. The oral examination is conducted by an appointed panel with observers welcomed by open invitation. The oral panel members receive the examiner report in advance of the oral defense. Examiner reports must be submitted at least 14 days prior to the oral examination. Observers do not have access to these reports. External examiners may participate virtually. Internal examiners and the candidate must be physically present at the venue unless an exception is granted by the faculty chair. The candidate and the supervisor must have access to the examiner reports to prepare for the Viva Voce or a resubmission. Adequate time must be given for this preparation. The oral examination is conducted in English. The panel composition. 4 panel members may be included, but a minimum of 3 is required. 2 examiners must be from the original thesis evaluation and 1 internal examiner is required. The internal examiner is an academic member from the same department who is not involved with the project and possesses disciplinary knowledge. This internal examiner should be appointed when the external examiners have been identified. The panel is chaired by the FRC chair or an appointed person. The panel is prepared and noted by the FRC and must be approved by the HDC. Appeals process. The supervisory team may appeal for the candidate to proceed to the oral examination if at least 1 examiner recommends progression and others require resubmission. An appeal can also be made if the examiners decline an oral defense after corrections are made. The result of the oral examination is final and cannot be appealed. The assessment panel must follow the procedures laid down by the policy. After the Viva Voce, the panel convenes to discuss the examiner's reports and their own assessment. They deliberate and prepare the final report or result. The main supervisor may observe and answer any specific questions. The panel decision is documented in a consolidated detailed report and submitted to the HDC for recommended outcome. The panel must reach a consensus on the outcome. If consensus cannot be reached, a second oral examination may be held with an arbiter who will make the final decision. Arbitration may include an oral examination to determine the final degree result. The arbiter prepares a report and the decision is submitted to the HDC. The assessment process is only concluded once the HDC captures and ratifies the result. The panel confirms the candidate is the author of the work. The panel clarifies what the candidate intended in specific sections, ensures the work falls within accepted academic standards, allows the candidate to respond to examiner comments, evaluates the candidate's perspective, and allows him or her to clarify and defend his or her points. Afterward, the candidate will receive administrative guidance and support for any required revisions. The presentation. Candidates must not communicate with anyone outside the room during the oral defense. The oral defense includes the following. The duration is between 60 to 90 minutes. A brief overview of the study, highlights of key findings, comments on research methodology and results, and the candidate leaves the room after the presentation and a question and answer session. The timings for the presentation. The candidate is allowed 20 minutes. The Q&A from examiners is 20 minutes. External Q&A could be 10 minutes. A roundup is 10 minutes. And the FRC chair suggests a maximum of 3 questions per category. Thank you for your attention and all the best in your research journey.